Today we saw 3 Red Bull in the podium, but one had a different engine. Words by Helmut Marko, sorry for the imitation, if it was not good or bad. But anyway, and you can see also the words from Christian Horner here. So they've obviously done, a good job over the winter. They say imitation is the biggest form of flattery, and it's good to see an old car going so well. Words by Christian Horner. These are the words of the team that you see in the screen. The Red Bull team principal, Christian Horner, and the advisor, Helmut Marko. Words directed against Aston Martin, which they did a podium with Fernando Alonso in the Bahrain Grand Prix, right? And especially because of a key person in the designing of the car, which is Dan Fellows. Dan Fellows is an engineer that used to work in Red Bull until recent years, and he was hired by Aston Martin in exchange for a sum of money, of course. He didn't leave Red Bull because he wanted to. Well, he did want to, but he didn't leave because of a less sum of money, right? He left because he wanted a new challenge. Maybe they offered him a higher position with more responsibilities, with a bigger challenge of bringing Aston Martin from the back of the grid to make it a Grand Prix winning car, right? The same way that Red Bull did when they came into F1 back in 2005, right? They were Jaguar before it was Stewart, but anyway, they were not. They were kind of like a mid-table team, right? And they came to F1 with a huge amount of money. They brought Christian Horner from Arden. They brought Adrian Newey from McLaren, among many other key staff. They brought some other drivers, right? They brought Mark Webber. They brought David Coulthard in that time. They had this driver academy to try to bring future world champions. They brought Sebastian Vettel, which was a BMW driver, by the way, sponsored by Red Bull, but was a BMW driver, and they got it into his team. And they made the championship, thanks to also the 2009 regulation changes. But anyway, this that Red Bull is complaining about with Dan Fellows and Aston Martin is something that has happened in all the history of F1. There has always been key staff. Can be the driver, can be the engineer who designs the car, can be the mechanic, can be somebody who structures the pit lane crew. I don't know. There is always a fight to try to gain time, to try to gain anything to win the Grand Prix. It could be Max Verstappen, which by the way was a Mercedes driver, and because Mercedes had no space, he went to Red Bull. Could be something else. It could, right? I mean, Red Bull has done this before as well. Ferrari has done this before. McLaren has done this, and every single team has done this. They take engineers from other people. McLaren got Adrian Newey from Williams, and Williams got Adrian Newey from another team. I mean, Ayrton Senna went to Williams. Ferrari took Schumacher from Benetton in exchange for a huge sum of money because he was a fate-changing employee, right? Schumacher was, Adrian Newey is, Dan Fellows apparently for Aston Martin is. Of course, Dan Fellows was one of the key people of Red Bull designing the car, who was designing the car for 2022 probably, and he went to Aston Martin. Of course, if he is the one who designed the car, the ideas are in his head. It's not like he took the drawings and information from a computer and they brought them to Aston Martin, which, by the way, is illegal. It happened before between Ferrari and McLaren. That's why the McLaren team got disqualified from the team's championship. But if you bring your own ideas, like Adrian Newey did from McLaren to Red Bull, for example, you can see the huge difference between the car in 2005 and 2006. Anyway. It takes time, but you could already see the difference in the car from the 2022 Aston Martin of where the car started, which was a horrible design, and when Dan Fellows started to put his hand into the car, at the end of the season, Aston Martin was scoring points. And this season, Aston Martin is making podiums. the ideas are in his head. So he did nothing illegal. He did something, or Aston Martin did something that Red Bull and many other teams, like Mercedes, for example, and Ferrari and other, did in the recent years and in the past history as well. You try to win, and if you have money, you bring the key people to try to gain the time to against the stopwatch, right? So the reason I think behind all of this, or the reason why perhaps Christian Horner and Helmut Marko are complaining about what happened with Dan Fellows and Aston Martin, which is not illegal, once again, is because we see the dominance of Red Bull right now, right? The car is dominant, they are really quick. I really don't think that they were pushing to the maximum in the Bahrain Grand Prix, especially not Max Verstappen. They need to save the car for the rest of the season. But the reason why is that maybe 2024 or 25 or 26 or whenever, Dan Fellows might make the car of Aston Martin a winning car. And this is the fear of Red Bull. This is why Christian Horner, who is an expert in using the media and the cameras and everything to try to make noise, right? And he did it with Toto Wolff all these years, and now his next target apparently is going to be Aston Martin. The point is to try to make noise, to try to make the FIA maybe make some rule changes or something that can make anything in their favor, which is basically the whole point of of Christian Horner doing that noise. This is the real reason. Red Bull are feeling threatened by a person that used to be under their employment, that went to a rival team, and now that rival team, maybe at the end of the season, could be, is going to be fighting with them, or maybe in 2024 is going to be fighting with them. The big but that Aston Martin has is the Mercedes engine. The engines are frozen, that cannot be touched, and this is a big drawback, for example, for a team like Mercedes, who the engine is not the same as the Red Bull powertrain or the Ferrari, and they do not have the top speed required to fight with Red Bull, for example. They cannot do that until the regulation change in 2026 for the engines, where Audi, maybe Porsche will come. Ford is going to come in as well. Honda, who knows if it's going to be staying in the sport. But anyway, this is the whole point of Helmut Marko and Christian Horner. They are trying to make noise, to try to make something happen, to avoid the other teams doing something they already did in the past. They don't care if they did it in the past or not. They know they did it in the past, and they will continue doing it in the future. They will always be staff exchange in the F1. Maybe Ferrari has somebody really good, and they will Red Bull will try to hire it, or Mercedes, or somebody else. But the point is that right now there has been a dominant team exchange. Right, it went from Mercedes to Red Bull. And they want to keep it. Of course they want to keep it. Everybody wants to keep it. They want to keep winning. The best season for Red Bull would be the one where the season is boring as F. It should be as boring as possible for them. They should be dominating as Mercedes did before them, getting 1 second between them and the other ones, which more or less happened in the Bahrain Grand Prix, by the way, because Ferrari is quite not a challenging car for them, let's say. And maybe Ferrari will try to steal somebody from Red Bull or from Aston Martin. Who knows? Maybe in 5 years, 10 years, Dan Fellows will end up in Ferrari. Who knows? Right? Or in another team, maybe in Williams. Maybe Williams is the next challenge for the next key engineer in F1, right? Maybe somebody from Ferrari will end up in Williams and bringing the car back to the front. It's gonna happen. These things always happen, and it's gonna continue to happen. Drivers, engineers, team principals. We saw many team principals changing teams in the recent years, right? It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen all the time. And the real reason why, I say again, Christian Horner and Helmut Marko are making the noise is because they want to see things change in their favor, as every single team principal did in the history, like Toto Wolff making noise for the porpoising, and so on. So this is the reason. On the other hand, is it correct what they are doing? Well, morally correct, in my own opinion, I don't think so. I don't think so because, like I said, they did it in the past. They came into F1 and they restructured the whole team in exchange of money. They invested a huge amount of money to try to change things, to try to bring new people, to try to renew the facilities and all this. They made a huge parties to try to make their image better. Red Bull party team, serious team to try to win. I want to be there, right? And now here they are. So morally, I don't think it's okay because they did it and all the teams did it. And doing those kind of declarations in the media is not the thing that makes you look good. Actually, Christian Horner right now looks quite bad because everybody knows that they have done this in the past. Doing these kind of declarations, it's not the best image for yourself. Maybe Christian Horner didn't make such a strong declaration as Helmut Marko, who is a more strong character, right? Stronger character against the media, against the drivers and everything. That's not like accusing like we had 3 Red Bulls in the podium. Christian Horner usually, as a Brit, tries to use more sarcasm into it. So I honestly, right now, looks like they're whining, they are complaining and crying about something that didn't happen yet. It's gonna happen. They know it's gonna happen, and they are afraid of losing their dominance that right now they have, which is gonna happen. But anyway, probably when Ford comes into F1 and maybe the engine is not as good as when Honda came in the hybrid era, right? It took many years to try to be there. Let's see what's going to happen with Ford. And probably in 2026, we will see Red Bull complaining a lot as well. Anyway, this is my opinion of the whole subject. I think it's more or less the same opinion for everybody. Stay tuned for other episodes. If you have any opinions on the subject, please leave it in the comment box. If you haven't subscribed or if you liked something like this or you have any suggestions for future debates, please let me know. And see you in the next episode.